I come from Alaska. I was born on Adak Island in the Aleutian Islands. Like Sarah Palin said, close enough you can see Russia. Then in Ketchikan, Southeast Alaska. Then Northern California. Went to high school in Santa Rosa, which is an hour north of San Francisco. And then went to college at Stanford in California, 1 year at Williams in Massachusetts. And then grad school at Cornell in upstate New York, and then back to Stanford and California. So most of my time's in California, but I started in Alaska and still feels like that's where all my first memories are, and still feels like home in a way, and I still go back pretty often. Alaska is the most conservative state, always Republican, highest gun ownership, highest suicide rate, most military. And most affected by climate change, as it completely denies climate change, its citizens. So in a way, Alaska is a clear window into the rest of the U.S. There are people far to the left there, far to the right, totally polarized. What's funny in Alaska is that their lives look the same. Whether they're the left or the right, they're living out in the woods, hidden away from the government, growing their own pot, they have guns, and they fish in the summers. So they look the same, whatever their politics are. But yeah, Alaska is a way to see what America is. It's not an exception. It's a way to understand America, I think. Alaska is thousands of miles from California and a vastly different landscape. And the biggest cultural gap that you can get in America is not going to different regions, as you might expect, and as everyone seems to think. And that's not our biggest linguistic difference either. The biggest difference is rural and urban. That's the big divide in America. So if you go to a small town in Northern California, it's not that different than a small town in northern Florida, in the Panhandle. It's actually not that different in how people speak, in the things that they believe and the things that they're doing. You know, living in trailers and going hunting and, you know, having portraits of NASCAR drivers in the living room you can find in both places. I mean, the NASCAR belongs more in the South, and you're more likely to get a Confederate flag. But you can get a Confederate flag in Northern California if you just go to a small town. So that's, I think, something that even Americans don't understand, is that our huge divide is urban and rural, not regional. We saw it in the elections. If you look at the elections across the map, across the country, all the rural places voted for Trump and the cities voted for Clinton. That's when we saw it most clearly. So maybe people do understand it better now.